I'm a retired Bakersfield, Californian photojournalist and Bakersfield College and Cal State Bakersfield journalism instructor. Like many here, I don't think it's a stretch to assume, given this board's recent defeat in its efforts to have the Ten Commandments placed in some of your schools, and given the extremist MAGA component of a portion of this board, the intent here with this presentation by Turning Point USA is a continuation of the efforts to somehow place religion into our public schools. I would like to address specifically a video by Turning Point Education, an arm of Turning Point USA, that was also founded by Charlie Kirk, who perhaps next to Donald Trump is among the most prolific racist, misogynist, homophobes, and hate merchants of note in America since the Jim Crow era, a man who insidiously wrapped his toxic hatred in a cocoon of false Christianity that offends and disparages everything that Jesus stood for. In this YouTube video titled Inside Turning Point Education's Mission, it unambiguously states its intent with disregard for existing federal and state laws. The most disturbing part of this 4-minute video is the opening seconds, which starts with a mocking of efforts by schools that support LGBTQ and transgender students. So right off the bat, we get a message that in Turning Point's model, there is no place for acceptance of those students. What does that mean for this district's approximately 800 LGBTQ students? It means they will face discrimination, exclusion, ridicule, and dehumanization. I can't help but point out the coincidence of this segment with the comments of Trustee Lori Eskew a few months ago, when she suggested that adults who support the rights of LGBTQ and transgender students should seek professional help, and her comments in which she called in-class discussions about gender issues insanity and called for a raising of the bar. May I suggest that teaching acceptance and understanding of all students who might be different from others is, in fact, a raising of the bar.
Thank you, Board, and I appreciate coming here. I want to just say right off the bat that I believe in free speech. It's the First Amendment. I also studied history. Cyrus the Great, they have a cylinder that proves that when he took over Persia, he allowed freedom of religion was one of the first things he allowed. Matter of fact, he was one of the first leaders that set up really democracy, where different cultures could live together simultaneously and respect each other. And it's from where we get our First Amendment, our foundation. So we don't need less speech, we need more speech. I've met Charlie Kirk, and he, in my understanding, he is not a racist because he asked me to join his organization. And if he were truly a racist, he would not ask me to join his organization. But what he asked me to join was the idea of freedom, freedom of speech for all people, even the people that you disagree with. And so I stand with Turning Point in regards to their allowing kids and people the opportunity to discuss these things. And the Supreme Court has said, we have a freedom of speech to talk to people about any subject we want to and anywhere we can. And the best place to do it is on school and college campuses. So I stand with Turning Point in that. I support their efforts for more people to talk, more people to engage, more people to know and hear the truth and have the freedom to disagree. And so what I would challenge this board to that, let's, the whole racism thing, the whole MAGA thing, yes, there are people within the MAGA organization who are racist. There are people on the left side that are racist too. But that's not the issue today. The issue is free speech. And if that is an American institution, that I will stand with the most honest person who disagrees with me, that he or she has the right to disagree with me. If we lose that, we lose our freedom and our foundation. So give me liberty or give me death.
Good evening, esteemed members of the school board. In an era where our schools face challenges like declining academic standards, ideological bias, children carrying burdens of confusion, chaos, and a loss of personal responsibility, resulting in epidemic levels of depression and suicidal ideology, we need bold voices championing timeless American values. And that is where Turning Point USA steps in, empowering the next generation with principles that build not just strong individuals and thriving communities, but more importantly, a deep understanding of the freedom we have been given, allowing students the path to find true purpose and meaning throughout their lives. So thank you for inviting them out tonight and allowing them to do a presentation. I think it's really, really awesome that you did that.
This flag does not represent fascism yet. Fascism begins with control of institutions. And the first institution it targets every time is education. Because whoever controls what children learn controls what society becomes. If you cannot recognize the early signs of institutional capture, signs that mirror the playbook of authoritarian power, then you are not protecting this system. You are helping hand it over. What you are considering here is not random. Turning Point USA, PragerU, the 10 Commandments in school. These are not isolated ideas. They form a pipeline of supplemental materials to normalize presence, to embed curriculum, shaping students toward a single ideology worldview. And that ideology is conservative Christian worldview. That's what it is. This is not education, it's indoctrination. This follows a pattern. Control curriculum, introduce outcomes, and replace academic vetted sources. Second, rebranding ideology as patriotism. Sensitize or sanitize history, remove complex and discourage questioning. Third, restricting thinking. Limit what teachers can say and what students are allowed to examine. We are already seeing warning signs. Turning Point USA has promoted watch lists that have led to threats and harassment of educators. Members have been bullied. Those they see are liberal and of ideological, not of ideological alignment. I realize my time is up. This was meant for 3 minutes. I have a gift for all of you. And that is this book, On Tyranny, by Timothy Snyder. I don't know if any of you have read it. It's excellent. I read it 10 years ago. I'm still reading it. When I first read it, I dropped to my knees. I said, this is what's coming. And this board is encouraging it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The reoccurring hypocrisy of this board isn't just frustrating, it terrifies me. Tonight, I'm calling out your efforts to push extremist conservative ideology into our schools using propaganda from sources like PragerU and Turning Point USA. Many in this community see it for what it is, and we know it's wrong. Speaking as a follower of Christ, what's shameful is this. You've allowed people to label LGBTQ+ individuals as groomers while supporting political figures accused of harming young people. That contradiction should concern anyone claiming moral authority. You villainize trans people and drag performers, yet members of this board, like SQ and Little, regularly wear pants, and in Lori Cisneros' case, shows up dressed like Garth Brooks on a 1996 world tour, and that is fine. Truly, there is nothing wrong with how anybody dresses. But there is something wrong with denying that same freedom to others. That is hypocrisy. Educators promoting inclusion, empathy, and critical thinking are accused of pushing a woke agenda, but those values, inclusion, forgiveness, and living authentically, are exactly what Christ, a poor immigrant of color, taught. Let's be honest. PragerU and Turning Point USA aren't student-led movements. They're backed by wealthy donors pushing division and fear, values that are anything but Christ-like. They promote policies that hurt people at home and abroad. They encourage greed and theft. And our students see it. They are smarter than you give them credit for. They see the contradictions, and many are walking away from institutions like the church, not because they reject faith, but because they reject what it's being turned into. I am not hateful. I don't speak the same venom against conservatives they speak about me. I pray for those on this board and those in this audience and those promoting TPUSA. Christ loves us exactly as we are. If you believe in Christ, then ask yourselves, are you following and promoting his teachings of love and mercy, or are you worshiping false gods, wearing his robes in AI-generated posts on Truth Social?
Good evening, Mr. President, trustees, and superintendent. My name is Lori Brashler, and I'm speaking on behalf of a coalition of local community organizations that regularly attend and engage with this board's meetings. We are here tonight because we believe deeply in public education and just as deeply in transparent, accessible, and fair public governance. The way meetings are conducted matters, not just for those in this room, but for the many community members who participate remotely or rely on recordings to stay informed. First, we want to raise concern about audio accessibility. Too often, board members speak without holding the microphones close enough to be heard. Comments are frequently inaudible on the YouTube live stream, in the overflow room, and for individuals who are hard of hearing, this creates a real barrier to public participation. We respectfully ask that all board members consistently use microphones so that everyone, regardless of location or ability, can hear and understand the discussion. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Burnham. I'm also part of that coalition, and this coalition also wants to address basic meeting transparency, starting with something simple but critical: access to meeting dates and times. Currently, upcoming board meeting dates are not posted in a clear, easily accessible location for the public. Community members should not have to search extensively to find out when their governing board is meeting. We respectfully ask that meeting dates, times, and agendas be posted prominently and consistently in one central, easy-to-find location. Transparency begins with letting the public know when and how to participate. Also, more time for agenda posting would be lovely, to have those agendas posted out a couple days sooner if that would be at all possible. Additionally, we have concerns regarding the consistent application of Robert's Rules of Order. In several instances, actions taken by the board appear to conflict with or unevenly apply these rules. Robert's rules exist to ensure fairness and clarity. We urge the board to seek refresher training on Robert's rules so that meetings are conducted consistently and in a way that builds public trust.
Hey, folks, want to wrap up this whole series of issues that community members have had. So we, the coalition, are also concerned with the uneven response to disruptions, profanity, and hate speech during meetings. Respectful discourse must be expected from everyone, regardless of political viewpoint. We have observed instances where vulgar language and racially charged comments from speakers aligned with certain perspectives were treated with more leniency, while those who disagree with the board have faced stricter enforcement. Public comment rules should be applied consistently and without favoritism. A clear and equal standard for all speakers is essential to maintaining credibility and ensuring that this space remains safe and respectful for everyone. Additionally, multiple community members have requested that camera views alternate between the board and public speakers. The technology already exists in this room, and many other boards provide this accommodation. When members of the public take the time to participate, it is appropriate that their voices and faces are included in the public record. Finally, we ask that the video recordings of the board meetings be archived indefinitely. I know some of the board members have asked about this in the past, but the current practice of retaining only a little over 1 year of meetings limits transparency. These recordings are an important public record that families, journalists, and researchers rely on long after the votes are taken. All of these requests, the audio accessibility, clear meeting information, consistent procedures, equitable public comment, and long-term archiving, are fundamental to a transparent and accountable public institution. These requests are not about criticism, they're about partnership. We want this board's meetings to be accessible, understandable, consistent, and reflective of the public it serves. Thank you for your time, your service, and your consideration. We look forward to continued engagement and improvement together.
Good evening, board. First off, I want to commend you for standing for common sense and reality. It seems to me that there are many out here that want to speak for free speech, but only if they agree with it. So I agree with some of the people that said something like the fascism statement. It is the overtaking of the schools and teaching things by the state, such as boys can be girls and vice versa. That's indoctrination, not teaching. There's no science for it. There's feelings for it. Everybody's good for their feelings. Those that preach tolerance are most of the time the least tolerant people of all. They don't want any truth out there to skew their view or slow their agenda. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent, Board President, and board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I want to applaud your board for the values you have set for the citizens of the county. From supporting the charter school system to opposing biological men and women's sports and locker rooms, your board has brought morality to Kern County. With our current hands-on administration exposing tons of waste, fraud, and abuse in our system, I feel your board has made huge strides to protect parental rights and freedom, despite dealing with an incompetent state educational department. In closing, I want to thank your board and staff for bringing morality and common sense back to this department. God bless you all.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Elizabeth Palencia with Building Healthy Communities Kern. At BHC, we look at student health holistically, and a huge part of that is mental and emotional well-being. A healthy school climate is one where students can focus on learning, rather than being dragged into culture wars by adults on the outside. As many of us know, adolescence is an incredibly vulnerable development stage. When outside groups bring grievance-based materials onto a campus, it doesn't foster healthy student discussion. It creates division and anxiety. That creates a distraction from actual education and a real detriment to student mental health. Parents have a right to know who is operating on campus and how it might impact their kids' well-being. So, my question for the board is, will this board adopt a formal disclosure and parental consent policy for all outside affiliated organizations and apply it equally, regardless of their political orientation? We believe in having that standard applied before giving any outside adult organizers access to our students. Thank you.
A presentation from Turning Point USA Bakersfield College. We have Matt Sosa, the chapter president. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Matthew Sosa, and I am the student president of Turning Point USA at Bakersfield College. I'm honored to be asked to speak here today. I'm here to share who we are, why we do what we do, and what we observe in our society. If you are not familiar, Turning Point USA is a national organization founded by Charlie Kirk on June 5th, 2012. We have chapters all throughout the nation across thousands of colleges and high schools. Through a close friend of mine, I officially joined TPUSA on December 5th, 2024, and it led me to start a chapter at Bakersfield College. Despite what some people may believe about TPUSA, our mission is to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of freedom, free markets, and limited government. And I get to do that just about every week at Bakersfield College. In order to do this, the chapter and I will get out a table with a canopy on Wednesdays and talk to the students of BC about political, religious, or current hot topics. I'm eager to hear about what my peers think about various topics such as if church belongs in politics, how abortion is not healthcare, or even defining what a woman is. It was interesting to get to hear what the students at Bakersfield College have to say. Our goal at Turning Point USA is not to force an idea on you and shame you that you are wrong. You can disagree with everything that I believe in, but the goal is to have clarity and respectful dialogue, even when there is no sort of agreement. We can still be friends and don't have to be enemies just because we have different views and values. I especially want the people who disagree with me to have a conversation with us. It gives me a special opportunity to hear where they come from and understand why they believe what they believe. How often do you go out of your way to try to talk with someone you disagree with? It is not a very comfortable thing to do at first, but once you start understanding the other person, a connection can be made. You get to understand that not everyone is who society labels them to be. Together as a chapter, we have been cussed out, flipped off, called a Nazi scum, a fascist pig, and threatened, just to name a few things. Something I have observed with these people who have said and done those things is that they have a presumed idea of who we are without ever having a conversation with us. We must keep the conversation alive. Charlie Kirk once said, "When people stop talking, that's when you get violence." I truly believe this is a dangerous way to live your life, to take someone else's perspective as your own without having any experience of your own. Many individuals perceive us negatively because someone else told them how they should think about us. We try to start a conversation to see why these individuals feel the way they feel, but it never happens. I want to keep the conversation going so things do not get worse. You see, the world we live in today is filled with so much mistruths, anger, and hate. As time goes on, everyone seems to be too afraid to offend somebody. Our society seems to be putting feelings over facts. Facts are mocked. Students are being taught to value their feelings. When we table, we oftentimes have a topic that will make people uncomfortable. A society built on comfort will weaken. Not physical comfort, but emotional. We try to push those boundaries. The places we send growing boys and girls, men and women, to learn and challenge ideas have now been pushing that discomfort or disagreement is harmful. The reality is that these institutions adhere to every discomfort they are doing the students a disservice to what life will be like outside of school. They are crippling students for the real world. Our world can be unfaithful, harmful, and unforgiving, and they should not be subject to agreeing with it all. You need to be uncomfortable to be able to grow, to understand, and to learn life lessons at a young age. Just like physically exercising the body, you must put it through discomfort if you want to see any positive growth. We need to bring respect, discipline, and truth back into our society and classrooms. It will make individuals uncomfortable at times, but discomfort is not necessarily bad. Let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and all students will be better off with it, both in and out of the classroom. What I hope everyone takes away from this today is that disagreement should never be feared. Growth does not come from always hearing what is comfortable. It comes from learning how to listen, respond, and think for ourselves. Discomfort is not always something to avoid. Sometimes it can be the very thing that helps us grow stronger and have more understanding of one another. Thank you for your guys' time and attention, and I'm going to be handing it over to my Vice President, Nelly.
Hello, I am Nayeli Gonzalez, and I'd like to thank all of you for your time and attention. Like Matthew said, what we do at BC is not an act of hate, but rather a way for us to share our truth and offer a new perspective to the students of our college. We do this from a place of love and care. Not only do we put time, effort, and our own money into our activities, but we endure hate no person should face just for having conversations with peers. What we strive to do is create a peaceful and inclusive environment on campus where we can share ideas and have meaningful conversations. Unfortunately, not everyone has the capacity to see what we truly do. Rather, from a distance, they call us Nazis, racists, take pictures, claim we harass students, ridicule us, and make threats online. I don't bring this up because it affects us as individuals or our chapter, but we feel as though behavior like that should not become the norm. The Turning Point chapters now and in the future should have the equal opportunity to voice their opinion and maintain a presence on campus just as any other club. Students with conservative values are no strangers to alienation or discomfort, especially at school. There are clubs, events, and educational events designated for what seems to be every belief, religion, gender identity, sexuality, culture, and other than those that align with traditional values. As a journalism student, I am no stranger to the concept of fair representation. But I also know that even our own institutions are not beyond criticism. At our college campus, there was a cultural awareness event for understanding Ramadan, but not one for Lent. There was a queer speeding dating activity, but not for straight individuals. A coming out day event, but nothing to celebrate and honor those who have fought for our country. A trans clothing swap, but no donations offered for families in need. Videos made depicting our school mascot as an ally for the LGBTQ+ community, but not an ally of the religious students of Bakersfield College. This list goes on, and let's not forget the small lawsuit our college went through in 2023 for denying conservative speakers on campus, but you won't find that part in published articles. We hear tonight that the professors at our school are allegedly silenced, but I'd offer that you take a class with these professors and hear just how much they push these agendas on us, making students uncomfortable, such as myself. My point is not to bring down or demean those groups offered such resources, but to broaden the so-called inclusivity of our school. I have firsthand surveyed Christian conservative students on our campus, and 9 out of 10 of them admit that they are afraid to share their thoughts and opinions at school. If that doesn't raise any concerns about agendas pushed on educational institutions, I'm not sure what does. I'd like to end off with the verse John 15:18. If the world hates you, remember that they hated me first. We of course can't expect for this hate to disappear, but rather we hope we can work towards creating a more positive future for our school. Thank you.
Questions from the board?
When did it get started? What year did you say? You came in 24.
24 is when I started the chapter. It didn't take off until Charlie Kirk's murder.
Okay.
People found us through social media, and it blew up from there. And then Nayeli was one of the first people who reached out and stuck around. So our chapter has just grown from there. So we're very,
How
very
many
blessed.
members do you have in the chapter currently?
Right now, give or take around 10 active members. We do have a good following of people who will come regularly to our tables and love to just discuss with us. And we do have a number of people who do disagree with us, but they still like to talk to us because they know we're not here to hurt them, but we do have really good conversations with some of these people. So it's really, really neat opportunity we get to have.
And how often are you on campus?
We were originally doing it the first 3 Wednesdays every month, but until the semester ends, we will be tabling every single week, including tomorrow. We will be tabling.
And how many hours a day?
We do from 9:30 to 2 o'clock. And that's
That's a
usually
long
when we
day.
get a couple rushes going in there. So it's really good.
Yeah. Are you getting any professors that want to come and have a chat?
We actually get a lot of faculty who thank us for being on campus, and they love it. And then it's interesting, like Nayeli said, is that there are a lot of professors and who are scared to, not necessarily scared, but they don't want to voice their opinions. They're afraid of what might happen, what the BC administration might do to them if they voice their opinions.
On both sides or on one side?
Just on one side.
So why did you start this? Because I kind of know a little bit of your background. So I know that you had traveled and was on conferences with Charlie. So what made you really want to start a turning point at Bakersfield College?
I first went to a conference before I even started the chapter, and then I really looked up to Charlie and a lot of the things he was saying, and I liked what he was doing on campus, being able to speak, and giving people a platform to speak freely. And I think that's such an important thing, especially for my generation. Something he voiced out was that everyone there are voters, and that everyone my age and everyone on BC's campus are eligible to vote. So they should at least know what some of these topics they are voting on. And we don't necessarily cover all voting topics. We just cover a wide range, but that's a big reason I like to have conversations with people. And then I don't like having people around me who all agree with me. It's cool to have people that I talk to who have a different point of view. Because if you have everyone around you who just think the same thing, then you're not going to really grow or learn that much. But by doing this, I get a fresh perspective from someone who has a completely different background from me. And it's a really, really cool opportunity I get to have.
What's the most significant point you've run across where somebody who was arguing with you changed your mind?
Ooh. I'm not sure if I've actually had my mind changed, but I have been challenged, I guess, I think one of our best tables was, should church belong in politics? And then people took that many different ways. So that I got to hear some people's views and what they believe in their faiths and philosophies. Some I've never even heard before. So that was really cool. I got to understand how some people view how they walk their lives. But I've been challenged. We did an abortion table last semester, a table about abortion, and someone asked me a really, really good question that I have never heard before, a take about abortion, and then it made me, I let him know. I was like, I have no idea. And then we talked about it together, and then we were able to come to a good conclusion. But it was through that civil conversation that we were able to have a good dialogue. But yeah, I have not had my mind changed, but
I would have meant on a given topic. I don't think I was specific enough.
Oh, okay. You want like again?
If you just a specific topic where you were surprised to find out that the other person argued sensibly enough to make you say, maybe you're right. Twice.
I can't think of one because I feel like either one, most people aren't educated enough on the topic, which it happens. So a lot of the topics we have to do research ourselves beforehand. And two, I feel like if people have views, they don't want to voice them to us. We get tons of people who walk by our tables. We'll ask them, hey, what do you think about our sign? And they always tell us they don't have an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion.
Everyone.
Yeah, so some people just don't want to talk to us. We try to present ourselves as friendly as possible. We know we have many regulars who disagree with us, and we always try every week to try to talk to them in a very respectful way. We always wave and then say, hey, what do you guys want to talk to us about our board? And then,
So the chance of you being wrong doesn't frighten you?
I want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, if what I'm talking about is wrong, I want to be wrong. But I have yet to come across someone who deeply challenges me in one of our topics, or any of our members for that, in that case. But we do get really good dialogue, and we are able to provide a lot of evidence for whatever topics we have. So, for example, when we talked about church and politics, it always came down to, is Christianity real? That always came down to, I think 80% of the conversations came down to, is God real? And then I got to profess my faith and tell people why I believe what I believe and give evidence for that. And that was really cool. But I haven't had anyone give counter evidence for what I believe yet. So we're hoping one day I can have someone come up there who's educated on the topic and can challenge my thinking, because then I can learn something and they can learn something.
Well done for your courage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to thank you for what you guys do, and your demeanor is so calm, and I appreciate that. And I just want to congratulate you just on your courage to do what you do, because in this political climate, that takes a lot of courage to do what you do. So thank you both. Thank all three of you. I know you're here. I know there's more of you, but thank you for coming tonight and sharing. Yeah. Oh, there's four. Yeah, yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you for being here. Really, this has been very informational, and I appreciate what you do. It's awesome to exercise your First Amendment right, and I love that. So
yeah, you articulated everything very well, and I really liked your comment that everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
And I would say I'd like to speak to the fact as Bakersfield College faculty, when I was interviewed 5 years ago, I teach livestock production. So I teach a dicey subject, right? We're raising livestock for food production, which can create a lot of dialogue. And a lot of students are taking that as a general education course. And so the question was posed to me as a potential instructor was, how are you going to deal with a student who is very much opposed to livestock production? And I said, I welcome the conversation because in their conversation, I'm being educated. And that is part of, I think, educating anyone is being able to listen to all sides. And so I just appreciate that about you. I'm glad it's not politics in my classroom, but it certainly does get dicey too. So thank you very much for what you're doing on campus, what you're doing for students that want to have that dialogue, and I appreciate it from you all.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate you guys coming, but what I liked was your comment, disagreement should never be feared. I like that, because it should never be feared. We are allowed to disagree. No one should be afraid to disagree. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
We always can walk away that, still love you, but we disagree.
Yeah. I can still love you as a human being.
So I like that comment, Matthew.
Go get some ice cream afterwards or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
There's ice cream?
No, I'll
we did
never
it once.
disagree.
And what's your fourth member's name?
That's for sure.
What is it?
What's your fourth member's name?
Tanner. This is Tanner over here.
Hi, Tanner.
Hey, Tanner.
Nice to meet you.
So nice to have you. Nice smile.
Yes.
Where on the campus are you having your table tomorrow?
We do it right in the middle. So hard to describe.
Campus dining.
Yeah, it's a lot of steps to get up there, but it's right in front of the cafeteria in the courtyard there. There's a little crossroads, and we're always there, same place, every Wednesday.
And it's going on until 2:30?
2 o'clock. We'll go until the crowd dies, but it usually goes around 2 o'clock is when there's a lot less people on campus at that time, so we just pack it up. But we get our rush around 11 and 12:30. Usually, we get a lot of people at that time.
Yeah. Well, keep on keeping on, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sosa.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much, guys.
On the topic of this evening and the comments that we heard from both sides of the aisle with regards to Turning Point USA, I was writing down a whole lot of really, really fun stuff to toss out there for people to think about, but what I've decided to do instead was to just point out that the pendulum is always swinging. It goes one way and it goes another way. And I'm not really concerned about who believes is making that pendulum swing the way that it swings. I know who I believe is making that pendulum swing the way that it swings. I don't agree with the way that it goes sometimes. Other times I'm in full agreement with how it's going. But this is an opportunity for all of us on both sides of the aisle to demonstrate compassion, to demonstrate manners, to demonstrate politeness. As Matt pointed out, it's all about the discussion. It's all about the human interaction. It's all about not reading a narrative or listening to a narrative someplace. It's about getting out and meeting with somebody face to face, eye to eye, whether you agree with them or not, and just acknowledge their humanity and expect that they acknowledge yours and appreciate it when they do. I'm not trying to sound like a school marm or anything, but I think it's about time that we had more of what Turning Point USA has to offer, which is, let's talk. I mean, what's wrong with that? Anybody here scared of talking? Obviously not. The people who showed up here are more than happy to talk. They're more than happy to express their views. And we as a board, I think I can speak for the board, saying that we are absolutely grateful that you've taken the time to come out. It's not up to me to agree or disagree with you. Happy to see you here. And this is your board. And we believe that every move that we're making and that everything that we do is in the best interest of the students and the community. Know that within our hearts, it is in the best interest of our students and our community. That's our only agenda, for whatever that's worth. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank Matthew and his team again. That was amazing. I love what you guys are doing. Hopefully I'll get up there tomorrow. I also attended a conference in Sacramento. California, they have the Education Freedom Act that has been approved. It's a tax credit, and California has not opted into this. So we need you guys to get a hold of your governor, start bugging him so we can get this. It's $1,700 for your kids. So come on, people, bug him. Let's get him on board. There's only like 4 states that haven't done it. And of course, we're one of them that haven't done this. You can go online, check your school eligibility for it. So we can do that. Also, Maribelli and Bonta versus Bonta. So we all know that Bonta kept suing Maribelli for this. So I just want to let you all know your taxpayer dollars are going to be paying back the attorneys that were for Maribelli at the amount of $4.5 million. So I hope everyone's happy with that one. Other than that, this was a presentation only from Turning Point. There's nothing going on the agenda. Turning Point is already in your schools. That is not anything that our board is going to do or put on an agenda to vote in. We don't do any of that. It was just a presentation because personally, I believe in Turning Point. Thought it was a great idea to have them come and do a presentation. There's high schools that already have it on their campuses. And so I, again, applaud you guys, did an amazing job. So I know that you guys came out and didn't like that we had Turning Point come out. It was just a presentation. Schools already have it on their campuses in the high schools, if they choose to have them. Other than that, also, someone had mentioned that we had defeated the 10 Commandments. I would like to correct you on that. We have not defeated anything. We have tabled it. That is it.
Turning Point. Your comments were very articulated very well. I enjoyed what you said. I think, having an honest conversation with somebody is so vital and so necessary. We've up here have heard people say things about us, and and they said that we've said things about them. So, and I don't ever want to do that. And if I do, I want somebody to tell me, because I always want to respond in love and in kindness. And I think from what you've said and what you've shown tonight, that's what you do. So I commend you for that. So thank you for doing what you do.
Anybody who knows me knows that I love America. So I appreciate having this time to talk about subjects that not everyone agrees on. And I heard the comment about the way I dress. I'm okay with that because I dress this way. First of all, I love America. It's pretty obvious. Second of all, I wear my cowboy hat. I am a farmer. We have a farm in Tehachapi, and I represent just an average person. I am a teacher. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I have goats and chickens and ducks, dogs, and a pony. And I am really close to the farming community in Tehachapi, and I'm close to the church community. I'm close to the political communities in Tehachapi. So I am not a big business owner with a bunch of money. I have no plans to be governor or anything like that. I am just here because I love America. I love children. I'm a teacher. I love teachers. I love the education system when it's working properly. And so I'm okay. If you want to tease me about my clothes, I'm okay. I'm not going to change my clothes. This is what I'm going to wear. This is my uniform. And a lot of people like to ask me, how many shirts do you have? Well, you'll just have to wonder that one. This is my favorite hat, so I wear this one most. But anyway, thank you for your comments. And I do want to say, I took a lot of notes. Everybody around me sees me like writing like crazy here. So I love to write down what you say because it's important to me. I do hear you and I write it down. I write down your name. And I heard someone say that Turning Point USA promotes worshiping a false god. And I agree with what Turning Point was saying. If you disagree with the God they serve, then talk to them about it. Debate that. I know that the God I serve is not false. I know that, and I would love to talk to you about that. But to just say that they promote worshiping false gods where's your evidence of that? What do you know about that? How can you prove that? Because I can prove that my God exists. So anyway, I just wanted to point that one out. But I encourage you to go to meet them at the BC campus. It's open to the public, right? Bakersfield College tomorrow. Talk about God. Let's do it. I appreciate your courage, like I said earlier, for this group that came today. And I think it's a great opportunity to exercise our First Amendment rights. And I encourage you to do that for sure.
Thank you to everybody who participated tonight. It's okay to disagree, and it's important to be heard. So, I appreciate all your comments, and I appreciate the presenters tonight. Thank you, Turning Point.